That's exactly what I was saying, seriously. Look who it is.
Hey.
Where the hell have you been?
I've been around. Was just taking a little break, you know?
It's been months. No texts, no calls.
I thought you didn't want me around no more.
That's the thing about you. You always got an excuse.
No, you say, it's too hot.
Can't wait for it to get colder outside. Stuff like that. You think I don't hear?
It's because I got no ears, don't mean I got no feelings.
No, I didn't mean that. Everybody was saying that.
Yeah, but everybody ain't you.
I didn't expect it from you with all your seasonal depression and shit.
It just got so hot outside.
I was just always waiting for you to come back for me.
Well, I'm here now. I ain't going nowhere.
Now, come on. Let's go get you some Claritin. Okay.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025. I'm J.E. Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Melas.
Warm weather lovers. This one's for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trae Kerby.
Ayo.
Ayo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is.
JD.
Here we are. Hello to everybody on YouTube. Hello to the podcast listeners. On today's show, we're going to discuss some suspensions, Zach Lowe's return, a whole bunch more in Is This News? That's right. But first, what a night for the box score boys. Woo! Let's start in Denver, where in one of the most exciting games of the season, the Wolves escaped with a wild 140-139 victory over the Nuggets in double overtime. Nickeil Alexander-Walker sinking 2 clutch free throws with 0.1 seconds left on the clock after being fouled on a 3-point attempt by Russell Westbrook, who I know we'll talk about his final 10 seconds, but it spoiled Jokic's career-high 61 points. That came with a triple-double, an insane game. We'll also get to Steph Curry and what he did, but wow, where do you want to start in the double overtime victory here from the Wolves?
I ain't negative. I ain't talking about Westbrook to start. It's going to happen pretty soon, though, I'm sure. Nikola Jokic is the guy we have to start with. Just fouling out everybody. Rudy Gobert, you're out of here. Julius Randle felt like he was going to foul out, but they gave the foul to Nickeil Alexander-Walker, so those guys both had 5. Naz Reid not in this game because of suspension. Yep. They threw Anthony Edwards at him. That first overtime to end it was pretty hilarious.
That was me guarding Trae Kerby.
Right, yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, back me up. Go ahead.
Yeah,
okay.
Nuggets,
Don't foul. Just don't foul.
Yeah, just don't foul.
It was so fun.
That was
Nuggets down
hilarious.
2, and Jokic gets the ball at the 3-point line, and Anthony Edwards just gives him space and more space and more space, so Jokic just walked into to a bucket to tie it, to send it to a second overtime, where he played every stinking minute after halftime. He played the 24 minutes before overtime and then both those overtimes, so 34 straight minutes. Free throws were 24 free throws, way more than half his team's free throws in this one, and they should have won. We should be talking about it. All about Jokic. That's what we should be talking about. But Westbrook, he messed this one up, baby. I mean, the way he could have dribbled out a clock, but he went for the free throw instead. He went for the layup instead with 10 seconds left, and he missed it, and then fouled Nickeil Alexander-Walker at the other end to lose the game.
The Westbrook tough. Comedy of errors, people were calling it, because like you said, he could have run out the clock.
Yep.
There was that possibility. He could have made a very, very routine layup at the rim that he just botched.
Yeah, 10 seconds left, up 1, get a steal.
Yeah.
And do that.
Then he could have maybe hustled back immediately after botching said layup, but he was almost in disbelief. He gets back, but then obviously challenges Nickeil Alexander-Walker in the corner a little too wild, got the arm.
Yeah, well,
the foul call.
It didn't change the shot at all, right? Because he got the shot off and then hit him afterwards.
Yeah, right. On
Nickeil Alexander-Walker, right?
Yeah, but he hit him.
He did hit him.
Yeah.
He hit him.
If he doesn't touch him, you're absolutely right. It's not a foul, and maybe they escape with the victory despite him blowing a layup.
And the great part is the Timberwolves thought it was over. Didn't know that Nickeil Alexander-Walker got fouled. Chris Finch, head coach, is saying bye to the other coach. He's saying bye to Michael Malone. See you later. Oh, we're going to the free throw line? Cool. That was a huge surprise for everybody and an epic game, man.
What'd you think?
Well, I just love that post-game. The quotes were like something you could have read from a post-game Westbrook profile in 2012. They're like, we can't just stop him. Like, he's aggressive. It's hard on him, too. He's taking it the hardest of anybody. It's like, yeah, we've been hearing this for 15 straight years. Nothing has changed. Literally nothing has changed. But that was just an awesome game of basketball. It really felt like a playoff game. You look at the box scores, basically 6-man rotations for both teams. Part of that's injuries. Part of that is the suspensions, of course, but still pretty much just 6 guys played. And like you said, Jokic played the entire second half. But if you give that guy 2 overtimes, he's going to put up an insane stat line. 61, 10, and 10 last night. He's played 5 total 2 overtime games in his career. He had a 47, 15, and 8 against Memphis in 2021, a 34, 15, and 3 against Miami in 2018. You know, that sounds like a normal Jokic stat line now, but that was pre-MVPs. He had a 30, 11, and 7 week against Utah in 2020, and then a 29 and 22 plus 6 assists against Phoenix in 2021. So no Murray, no MPJ. Conditions are perfect because they needed his scoring. Everybody that was out there outside of Westbrook needs shots created for him, and Jokic was doing a great job creating shots and looking for his own offense. He loves playing against Gobert. That's pretty clear. Yeah. But he was awesome. Great to see. But you got to give a lot of credit to Anthony Edwards. The dude put his cape on and really won the game for Minnesota. They were down 11 in the fourth quarter. In the last 6 minutes and 34 seconds of the fourth, Edwards went for 13 points on 4 of 5 shooting, made 3 threes, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, only 1 turnover. He keyed their 12-2 run that flipped the game instantly. Yep. Like, they took the lead within 4 minutes and then played it out. 6 points in overtime was pretty good. Some of the decision-making, pretty weird, I would say. Taking 2 brutal deep threes, basically turnovers, had a turnover that gave the Nuggets life on the other end as well, but he did enough and he showed up when it mattered for the Wolves to get the dub.
Yeah, and with 34 points, 10 boards, 8 assists, he said a lot of those coming in the final 22 minutes where he did take over. But man, there was some like, what are you doing, Ant? Especially when the doubles just sent at him. And he like takes an extra second longer, I always find, before like making the pass. But maybe also not having trust in Randall or whoever it was finding its way to. McDaniels, I know, had to get one up sort of when I'm talking at the end of fourth quarters and the end of the first overtime, and then obviously as this game went on. But overall, he was special. Anthony Edwards just has the Nuggets number, too. I mean, I guess the Wolves do. They keep pulling out crazy victories against this team. I don't know if we'll see him in another postseason matchup, but this one did feel like a playoff game. Oh, yeah. And man, when you have, especially when Jokic is playing 52 minutes, nearly 53 minutes. Like that's, wow. You're only doing that usually in a playoff game, not in an early April game here, but these games matter in terms of the rankings, and they obviously wanted this one and thought they could pull it out. It was fun as hell.
Yeah, Edwards being able to turn on like that is pretty wild because he seemed like he wasn't even there at times. You know, in the third quarter, he had just 5 in the first half, then he had another 5 in the third quarter, but then boom, here he comes. And they seem to turn it on against the Wolves. That's just what happens. I will say about the Nuggets, weird not to have Jamal Murray out there and Michael Porter Jr. Jalen Pickett was really, really good, contributing off the bench, and a lot of people saying, why isn't he in there instead of Russell Westbrook? Yeah, it's a fair point. I mean, he will not make mistakes, but you obviously, the Russell Westbrook experience is the Russell Westbrook experience. That's what
it's so perfectly named. The Russell Westbrook experience, or live by the Westbrook, die by the Westbrook. Like, it's all true, and it has been, like you said, TK, for so long. We've talked about it so many times. I also thought Nickeil Alexander-Walker was awesome for the Wolves. 26.7 boards, 8 assists in 45 minutes off the bench, and I mean, he got fouled. He had to step to the line and still hit those free throws, and obviously needed 2 of them. He missed the third one on purpose. I loved Jokic, by the way, off of the third purposely missed free throw.
He's trying, man.
Trying to tap it from 90 feet. He gave it a go. But he was awesome, and I think he's important, obviously, for the Wolves to like get out of the play-in. And if they are to make any sort of noise in the playoffs, he has to play well again. And I think we'll be given an opportunity. He's great defensively, and he needs to hit shots.
Yeah, the play-in tournament is always just the play-in tournament. It's never the playoffs year after year after year. But this year it feels like it's going to be the playoffs. Like that 7-8 game feels like a playoff series. Wolves, Clippers, most likely at this point. I mean, it could be anybody because it's fluctuating.
I think you're right.
Now.
And I would add to that, any of those teams, whoever wins that 7-8 game, are going to feel like they could probably beat the Houston Rockets, who currently still hold the number 2 seed.
Absolutely.
And that's not a knock on the Rockets. I love it. They're going to be a tough out, but like that, they're going to go into that if it's the Wolves, if it's the Clippers, maybe even if it's the Grizzlies fall. They're going to feel like they can sort of advance to the second round in that matchup. So I'm with you. The play-in games, man. we're hyped. I can't wait. That's like
Yeah, I don't know about this
2 weeks.
9-10er.
Yeah,
Well,
just
yeah,
the
9-10 not as much.
9-10's dead.
That one
no,
as
the
well.
Thunder are
And the
going to
Grizzlies
spank them.
stink right now.
Yeah.
The Grizzlies are terrible, and they're
Yeah.
going to be making it. They're going to be in the play-in, I do believe.
Yeah.
It wouldn't
Could be,
be
yeah.
But I don't
if
think they're going to
lose
be
out
the
here.
7th seed is my point.
Right.
So, yeah,
Yes, I think they could easily lose 2
Yeah.
play-in games. I also thought Julius Randle was pretty sweet in this game as the second scorer alongside Anthony Edwards. He made 11 shots. Randle did. 4 of them were late shot clock situations. Also had 7 assists. He seems to have found exactly what he's supposed to be doing since returning from injury. They've been playing pretty well right before he got hurt, and then right after he returned. And, it's kind of like I compared him to a pair of jeans out of the dryer early in this season.
Yeah.
It's a tough fit, but now they're worn in, and he knows exactly where his knees are bending. He's got the whiskering on the front.
Sure.
Don't wash him, though. Before the postseason, I'll just tighten right back up.
Yeah. As much as I mocked Nikola Jokic getting everybody in foul trouble, including Julius Randle, they have some sort of recipe, again, to play the Nuggets, like 21 offensive boards, just getting after it against the Nuggets team that has their own problems in that they can't outshoot teams from three-point land. That ain't going to happen. You got Jokic doing it from 2-point land. They've won a title like that, but the other team is going to hit more threes. So the Wolves hit 7 more threes in this game. It's a fun matchup because of all those matchups, because of everything in the box score, because you're going to outshoot teams. You're going to outshoot these Nuggets, and you outboard them. So a really fun experience.
So Jokic's 61 points, the most by a player in the NBA this season. Also just the third 60-point triple-double in NBA history. They've all happened in the last, 7 years? James Harden had one in 2018, Luka Doncic in 2022. And I thought this was fun. If you go to StatHead, right, by way of basketball reference, if you rank them by game score, basically sort of like a calculation for, an incredible game or the best game, it was Jokic's best game ever, according to game score, what he did last night in double overtime. I mean, it's a pretty incredible line, but 52.7 is the game score. The next closest is 48.7. But my other favorite part, and we've talked about this before, Jokic's 4 highest scoring games ever. 61 last night, 56 against the Wizards, 53 against the Suns, and 50 against the Kings. All losses. They all come in else, and that's sort of what we've always talked about. That's your best chances for him to score a ton and try and take away everyone else, and maybe you give yourself a go. But that's just sort of crazy at this point. That's 4 50-point games are all losses.
That is surprising. I would be curious to see the personnel on the court, because obviously players missing in this one. So Jokic ramps up his scoring. I don't know if the same thing happened in those games. I think one of them was a playoff game, though, right? And that was definitely we're making Jokic a scorer.
The one against
that was
the Suns.
Yeah. But yeah, Aaron Gordon I thought was pretty good. He hit some clutch threes as well. It was like him and Jokic were the only guys that could make threes for the Nuggets last night. That was just cool. Basketball's good.
Basketball's
I
great.
like basketball.
Are you concerned to go back to Westbrook and obviously his mental lapse there, boneheaded plays on both ends? Of quote unquote losing him here down the home stretch and into the postseason. Could this rattle him, or did you like what you saw? They're trying to rally around him and say all the right things, it's the good and the bad, and we want him to play hard, and blah 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 blah.
He hasn't been lost for 17 years. I mean, I don't think anything's losing him. What would help is him not having to play as much with Jamal Murray being healthy. That would help.
Mm-hmm. So you don't want to see as much Westbrook in the postseason.
Well, I think
you're right.
Yeah, I think we've seen that.
Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
That's the same. It always happens in the playoffs, especially later in his career.
Yeah.
He couldn't stay on the court for the Clippers last year. Still was good in the regular season. That's kind of the recipe for Westbrook at this point.
Yeah, unfortunately, when the Clippers don't have a Kawhi or Paul George, he had to take this huge role. And that would be the unfortunate part for the Nuggets if he had to do that, if Jamal Murray, for some reason, didn't have to play. But that guy's going to play. He's healthy. Mm-hmm. He will be playing. Just chilling for a game or so. So yeah, he needs to have his minutes reduced. I mean, just not to shoot all the freaking time. Although that layup was just a flub, right? He just missed a layup.
He forgot to put it above the rim.
Yeah, almost a wedgie.
Yeah, exactly.
Dunk it.
And that's because his legs aren't there. He could have if he went all the way up there. But you see so many missed layups with him, missed mid-range shots. They just don't happen anymore.
Yeah, and then I forgot we had the crazy play where Jokic got fouled on a jump ball.
Yes, he did. He missed the free throw, right?
Yes.
He missed one of those free throws. Could have won the game if he made it.
Well, I keep coming back to Westbrook and everyone saying, well, why don't you just run the clock out, man, or get fouled? I don't think he wants to actually get fouled. He had just missed a free throw. He's not the greatest free throw shooter of all time. You know, he should hit the layup. Like, that is the move there. It's a 2-on-1. Either Brown or him should finish it.
Yeah, you could pass it, right.
Yeah. But yeah, they both, you're right. Jokic did miss one after that. Because that was the play where they were like, we don't know who it went off on. So just jump it up.
Yeah, exactly right.
This is one of those games that we start to recap and then you just remember all these.
Remember
things
that?
I always hate these double overtime games.
Yeah.
I've said it before on the show. It's like, did that happen in the first overtime?
Yeah.
Was that in the end of the fourth quarter? Was that when? Yeah. Was that in the second overtime? Yeah.
It's too many.
Anything else though from a great, entertaining Wolves victory over Denver?
I will say, I just thought Anthony Edwards was going to Mike Conley on that 3-point attempt that got Nickeil Alexander-Walker the free throws. I thought he was going to the other quarter because Mike Conley just sitting there. I'm ready. And he didn't go to him. I guess he made the right choice.
I mean, Nickeil Alexander-Walker was going like this the whole time. Like, I'm over here.
Hey!
And then I think he was even surprised when it eventually got to him because it got to him very late.
Yeah.
I mean, he sort of had to shoot it pretty quickly. He seemed like almost like, oh, damn, he is passing it over here. Okay, and then he got it up and got fouled.
But you're right about the Ant experience in a way where he's the guy running the thing at the top, and it kind of, in a similar way, you know, this one was more of a fast break, but he just kind of hangs onto the ball a little bit.
Does. He does. It's like it's just like not a second. It's like half a second, or whatever. But all that matters, obviously. And maybe he seems frustrated, like how they're attacking it as well. Like, you know, where the coverage is or where the help defense is coming from, and that means who's open. And it's like, and him and Randall sort of like at a sync there, especially on that last one. Are you cutting? Are you not? Yeah, so but you know they escaped with it, and he was huge. Don't get me wrong, but a couple like you're gonna see that in the playoffs, man. Like, you guys got to figure that out. And it should be an advantage to where you're playing then 4-on-3, but we'll see.
The Wolves have lost a lot of clutch games this season, and a large part of it is Edwards' decision-making, and that's going to show up in the playoffs for sure, but if he can do it like this, like he played a pretty good game, shot-making-wise, at least down the stretch, but it's going to be on his shoulders, absolutely, because, no offense, I would rather live with Anthony Edwards' bad decision-making than Julius Randle's bad decision-making, but they got two guys who are kind of questionable when it comes to the last 3 minutes.
Yep.
Yeah, and this is who they were last year when they went into the playoffs and went to the conference finals. They weren't good in clutch games. They just weren't. But you kind of depend on Mike Conley a little bit, Dante DiVincenzo a little bit, who they didn't have in this game. So somebody's got but it starts with Anthony Edwards. Yeah, it's going to be fun.
All right, well, let's go from Jokic's incredible game in a loss to Steph Curry's incredible game in a win. Steph Curry hit 12 three-pointers, and he scored 52 points as the Warriors defeated the Grizzlies 134-125. Now, the last time Steph and the Warriors played in Memphis, he was held without a field goal. Steph Curry was.
Yeah, the cuddler was all over him.
Yeah, that's right. And the Warriors lost by 51 points. No repeat of that last night. The greatest shooter of all time, again, hit a dozen threes and was just magical in this. And they needed all of them, and then he hit some timely ones at the end. TK, how do you want to start with this vintage Steph performance?
I heard Anthony Slater on the Athletic NBA Daily today said that he knew Curry was going to have a good game because Steph said that he was shooting the ball well in pregame. How good do you have to be shooting in pregame to be Steph Curry and be like, ooh, I feel good? He probably misses like 5 shots in pregame a bad night.
Yeah.
So did he just make every shot for an hour straight? Did he make the 105-foot shot from the tunnel? Was like, oh, I'm actually feeling pretty good today. Yeah. Crazy, right? Like, even for him, there's like levels of like, I got it tonight.
Absolutely,
and he had it.
Yeah. I saw him have a pregame dunk. And that's when I thought, oh, he's feeling it.
Yeah.
Well, he had a week off or so. He had some time off with the pelvic injury. Said he's like, the tank is full.
The tank is full. Late season injuries aren't the worst thing. It gives these guys who are later in their career a chance to rest their legs. Like Curry missed the last 3 weeks of the season, the year they went to the title in 2022. So he was obviously looking good. And I thought Draymond was really great alongside Steph. 12 assists for Draymond last night. 5 of them were for Steph Curry threes. And there are like multiple plays where you'll see Draymond catch the ball at the top of the key. Buddy Hield and Pajemski wide open on the left side of the court. Draymond's not even looking at him. No. 2 guys on Curry, but he's like, I'm going to dribble into a dribble handoff with him. Curry laces him for 3. Great stuff. The other assist for Draymond, like I said, 5 for Steph threes. 2 other were for three-pointers. I think one was for Moody in the corner there at the end, maybe another one for Jimmy earlier, and then 5 layups as well. So, like, high-quality assists for Draymond. I think this was his first triple-double of the season. He played incredibly well. Butler played off awesome. It just kind of came down to execution at the end of the game. The Grizzlies had a 1-point lead with 2.5 minutes left. Their next 3 possessions were Ja missed the jumper. Not a really good look. He was on the baseline, got smothered. Scottie Pippen Jr. had a wide-open 3 from the top of the key, bricked it off the glass. And then Ja had a turnover where he just completely over-penetrated, had no clue what he was going to do. On the flip side of things, the Warriors offense went Jimmy free throws. Curry actually missed the 3. And then a Podziemski tip in.
That was gorgeous.
Offensive rebounds are the mind killer. Moody then hits the 3-pointer from the corner after that Ja Morant turnover. Just like that, the Warriors are up 8. And it's like, oh, the Grizzlies grizzlied again.
Yeah. And the Warriors looked like those Warriors teams. I mean, to execute just in those minutes that they needed them. As you said, like that Podziemski tip back. Also, kind of piggybacked what he did with 3.5 minutes left, hit another bucket. Like, he didn't have an incredibly good shooting game at all. Didn't hit a 3 out there. He's 4 of 11, but 2 key moments. That's what the Warriors do, man. They'll get you. And they hit 28 of their 28 free throws. Just perfect. To add those numbers in, obviously, Jimmy leading the way there. Yeah, they just put everything in that little recipe perfectly. I mean, obviously Curry's start to this game where he had 19 points in that first quarter was just like, okay, you're getting on my back.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how it goes. I thought his first basket was a backdoor cut to get Jalen Wells, who's so good at guarding him, and he got a nice good bounce on a layup attempt. It actually looked like it was going to miss, but he just had a perfect bounce on a reverse layup, and then if that's going in, then everything's going in. Man, he was just on fire. He had an offensive rebound at the rim. Steph Curry in the first quarter, and he had to flex after it. Like, he doesn't do that, man. He was on fire, and the late game executions were like good for the Grizzlies to actually scrap and get back into this thing.
True.
Because they did. They were getting backdoor cut. I mean, this is the Warriors. This is what they're going to do now. They were getting backdoor cut all over the place in the first quarter, but they somehow found a way. John Morant and his 6 30-point game this season was awesome. He looked great, but then sometimes, like you said, that one play where he gets into the lane, it's like, where am I going? I'm going a little too fast for myself, and he doesn't pass to anybody. But he had some sexy ones.
Yeah, I mean, his 36 definitely overlooked after everything what happened last night in the NBA, but it was a good game for him, man. But that, man, like, the hypnotic step backs from Steph and the 30-foot heat checks and the daggers late and the Santi Aldama's still looking for him on some of these. Like, he had him so turned around, and like, it's like the first time maybe he'd ever even played him or something. It felt like it's like he's gonna give up the ball and he's not gonna stop moving, man. And you think he's gonna go that way and he's going back to the 3-point line. That happened a couple times. Yeah, Jalen Wells, I mean, look, had good success earlier in the year, and then he got taught a lesson here. This is the greatest shooter of all time. You're not going to keep him down too many games in a row. But Curry broke a tie with LeBron and Rick Barry for the 6th most 50-point games in history. He also passed Jerry West and moved into 25th place on the NBA's all-time scoring list. And be honest with me, as this game, I guess, got into the third quarter and he hit his 11th three-pointer, I don't know if you were texting the bros. I don't know if you were getting locked in like, hey, is this the game where Steph's going to beat Klay Thompson's record of 14 three-pointers made in a game? Because there was a lot of basketball left. It was still fairly close, so you knew he was going to play. And he even talked about it after the game with Scott Van Pelt. He's like, oh, yeah, I knew. And I was sort of going for it. He was like, at the start of the fourth, he missed a couple. He's like, okay, I got to chill out here. Maybe really gunning for it. I'll get them in the flow. So it obviously comes up a little short with only 12, but it would have been, that's the one 3-point record he doesn't have. And I love that he knows it. He's like, yeah, the other Splash Bro has it. I should have it because I should have every single one. And maybe he will when it's all said and done.
There was 5 minutes left in the third quarter when he hit his 11th.
Yeah.
17 minutes? Come on. This guy must not have shot that well in pregame. Maybe he'll never get it. Maybe this will just be the thing.
Yeah.
Because, like, when he's going for a record, he's having the hardest time. Like, when he was trying to break Reggie Miller, and it took a lot longer than everybody thought it was going to take, puts the pressure on himself. And everybody knows it's coming. Not that always matters, but I don't know. Maybe he'll just never get it. That'll be funny.
I mean, could he get it? Of course. But they would have to be so like blatant with like, hey, you got to shoot 35 threes.
Yeah.
Like every time, bro, you're just like, I'm Draymond, I'm handing it to you, and I'm just gonna body check whoever out of the way. Maybe I'll get called a couple times, but just keep firing it up.
Like Kobe's final game. Like
A little bit.
You shoot every shot, man.
So maybe that's when he'll do it. In Steph Curry's like swan song final game.
Okay, yeah.
Ooh, that's not a bad call actually.
Yeah.
Go for 20.
Yeah, right. Just shoot at 53-point attempts. Okay, you're gonna hit 20.
I'd be mad.
So the victory moved Golden State past Memphis into 5th place in the Western Conference, and it gave the Dubs the season series 3-1. So that, in essence, gives the Warriors a 2-game lead, really, over the Grizzlies in the standing. So huge win.
Big time.
Absolutely huge win. And don't look now, but if the playoffs started today, Curry's Warriors versus LeBron and Luka's Los Angeles Lakers in a 4-5 first-round matchup. Send it in, Silver! Yeah, that's where we're at right now. Obviously, a lot can change still, but potentially Curry versus LeBron in an actual 7-game series. Because we've had him in the play-in, right?
We've had him in the play-in. It was a classic game.
It was.
LeBron poked in the eye, shot for the middle basket.
That's right.
Yeah, I remember.
Nice.
I remember.
Great memory, man.
Yeah, Adam's talking to people in the office today. Should we just end the season
Just start it now.
Yeah. Can we do it? Can we do that? Is that crazy? Yeah, they want it, obviously. They want that.
Interesting. Do you think it's better for the league if these two play each other in the first round, thereby guaranteeing that only one of them advances to the second round of the playoffs, or a chance of both of them advancing? Like if, I guess the Warriors would have to be 7.
I think they'd want
2.
up. I think you just take the guaranteed eyeballs, and you probably set
Maybe
a
so.
you're going to set a
Oh,
bunch
yeah.
of records
Yes.
for most viewed playoff games, I would
Right,
assume,
yeah.
with those markets and those players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you lock it in. Start it, Silver. Just start
It's
it.
it's a good debate though. So if the bracket is them in the first round or them meeting in the second round because of the way the bracket,
Right.
Great. That's a great.
I mean, well, sure,
it's
but
first
you
round.
can't guarantee me that.
No, you absolutely
You
not.
can't guarantee me. I mean, as great as the Warriors and Lakers have been playing, and obviously the huge addition. That's the other part of the whole matchup. It's like, okay, yeah, LeBron versus Curry. Wow. Then you're like, oh God, the two biggest in-season trades we've seen in a long time, in Luka going to the Lakers and Jimmy Butler going to the Warriors. Oh yeah, there's that part too. That's sort of cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
So no, I take it first round. That's okay. Because we're gonna have a couple dud first round series too. We need a couple just marquee ones as well, and you can't get more marquee than that.
You can't.
No.
Also,
anything else?
let's see. Pete Pranica was on the broadcast.
Yeah.
Obviously, he did the local broadcast for the Golden State game, which is kind of unusual because on Monday they played against the Celtics, and because it's NCAA tournament time, sometimes these local guys are getting the bump up to the national broadcast. So Pete Pranica did the national broadcast, and you can tell the difference between these. Like, when he's doing the local broadcast for the Grizzlies, he's a Grizzlies employee.
Yeah.
When he's doing the national broadcast, he's an NBA employee.
That's why these guys are pros, man.
That's why they're pros.
Yeah.
Like it's fun. Like Mark Jones is a guy that does that a lot too.
Yeah.
And when he calls a Kings game on ESPN, he just knows everything about the Kings suddenly. But they never mention that they do it for the other team.
That's right.
I think that's pretty amazing.
They are pros,
Yeah.
man. Yeah.
Pro Pranica.
Can't let that bias show. Anything else before we move on?
Yeah. I don't want to harp too much on the Grizzlies' positives, but there were some positives, man. Zach Edey laying out Moses Moody with a pick.
He crunched him up.
Yeah, like a plus 13 for Zach Edey in his minutes. I mean, he played solid 32 minutes out there. Obviously,
He did.
Draymond Green went by him one
Yeah.
time, and Zach Edey, I mean, kind of the goaltend there. Like, yeah, bad moments from Zach Edey as well. The's no doubt about it.
He's played like he was the biggest guy out there.
Yeah, he did.
Yes.
Yeah, he's doing some good stuff though, and I mean, I know we'll overlook these sexy moments, but like some of these will be incredible if you got some playoff. Like he changed hands midair for a beautiful left hand layup. It was a little MJ-ish, the Euro step hanging in the air. Like he was just hanging in the air, so you can get some of these playoff experiences as well, but just not enough. Jaren Jackson Jr. getting in 2 quick fouls.
Oh yeah,
That
him
was bad.
fouling out is a huge difference maker in this game. And
Draymond did it to him, man. Draymond was ridiculously good.
Yep. How about Quentin Post getting the halftime interview? And he was just as confused as we all were. It's like he literally was like, "I don't know why I'm doing this." That's what he said. Yeah. He's like, "Why am I doing this?" He said like Steph Curry's got 40. Like he was exaggerating. I forget what he had at the half, 32 maybe.
Right.
Yeah. But he's like, "Why am I doing this?" And then they were like, "Well, you're the rook." Steph doesn't want to do it. He's got to go back to the locker room. All right.
That's funny.
Yeah, just enjoying the show, I guess. So
That's the best hazing thing you can do, man.
Yeah, you do it. You do the media responsibilities. All right, let's talk quickly about the Bucks setting a team record for field goal percentage in a 133-123 victory over the Suns. So Milwaukee snaps a 4-game skid by shooting a franchise record 68.9% from the floor in a win over Phoenix.
You rounding up?
Yeah, sure.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know what you want to say about this game. Great game from the Bucks. Pretty pathetic effort here from the Suns. But Giannis talked about, we need this, man. We got to stop this slide here. And he, set the tone. Nick Richards, man, my God, good luck with an angry
Sorry,
Giannis attacking, spinning on you, hitting threes on you, too. So everybody getting in on the fun for the Bucks. Nobody could miss.
Yeah, I literally laughed at the headline on ESPN that said highest field goal percentage this century. Technically since 1998, and we've had 25 years of the 2000s, so it's true, but that's a way to make something look extreme this century. Late in the broadcast, Stan Van Gundy said, you take care of the ball, you can get whatever you want, and that was 100% the case for Milwaukee last night. They had 20 turnovers, which is why the game was close at all. 20 turnovers plus, I guess, the Suns getting completely on fire from 3 in the last 3 minutes of this game. Every time the Bucks would stretch it out to a 7-point lead, somebody hit a 3-pointer for Phoenix, but 58 points in the paint on the night for Milwaukee. They shot 75% on twos. Giannis was basically playing point guard in this game, and it was I felt bad for Nick Richards. It was, if he stepped up, Giannis was going by him, and if he stood in the lane, Giannis was either driving into him and spinning and scoring over the top or making his 3-pointers. Also 11 assists for Giannis. He was throwing some beautiful one-handers on the break. The vision was great. Great passing. I would give the game ball to Ryan Rollins, though. 23 points, 5 assists, 5 threes, had a nice layup, and then the back-breaking 3-pointer late in the fourth quarter after I think Grayson Allen maybe hit a 3 to make it a 4-point game, something like that. Rollins played pretty well, and a nice win for the Bucks, who just did what they had to do to get a win against the Suns. Go inside. You can score easily.
Yep.
Yeah, I thought Ryan Rollins was incredible, actually. He is a young guy, so he sees Colin Gillespie on the other side. He says, oh, yeah, I can take this guy, man. I can ball with this guy. And he did a really good job defensively. It was a different type of team than with Dame as the point guard. He was hitting that first point of defense pretty damn well. He was a really good player out there. He was awesome. He got that mispronunciation of his last name that happens to the greats. He was called Ryan Hollins. There was a flashback to Ryan Hollins by Spiro Didas. It happens to all of us.
Sure. Totally.
We were on the broadcast the other day, and I called Dwight Murray Jamal Murray in the G League game. It happens to the best of us. But the Ryan Hollins, it sounds like Ryan Rollins. So that's understandable. But yeah, he was great. And the Nick Richards experience against Giannis and Brook Lopez, it's come on, man.
Good luck. I felt bad for him,
They're too small.
too.
They're way too small.
9 offensive boards, though, Nick. Good job, man.
Yeah,
Stay
that's
active
true.
on the glass.
He was fighting. Brook Lopez celebrating his 37th birthday.
Yeah.
Yesterday as well. 10 to 13. Yeah, scored 22. Ryan Rollins, we should add to the list of guys that wear an undershirt.
Short guy?
Now, I know, I think it was because he had a dislocated shoulder early in the year. I'm sure that's a part of it, but looked good in that undershirt. Like a long one, I thought. Quite long down the arms, but what a game from him, 23. And they needed it. Giannis said after the game, quote, I think when you win, you enjoy your sleep better. You enjoy your food better. You enjoy spending time with your kids and everything better. You enjoy interacting with your teammates more. I'm a sore loser. I'm not going to lie. We definitely needed a win. Yeah. End quote. He's not wrong.
Respect. I can't believe he didn't bring up having sex with his wife. He brings it up all the time.
He does try to slip
this
it
guy
in
is
literally
horny
all the time.
Good for him. Milwaukee, though, probably not going to get home court. They're 3 games back of Indiana, but they do have a favorable schedule. Their next 3 games are Philadelphia, Miami, and New Orleans. All on the road, but definitely winnable games. But I think they're, a game back of Detroit right now for the 4th seed. For the 5th seed. Their last 2 games are against the Pistons on April 11th and 13th. Those are going to be big-time games, I think, for seeding. But it makes you think, would the Bucks rather stay where they're at in 6th and play against New York Knicks, who they are 0-3 against this season, or get up and play against the Pacers, who did beat them in the playoffs last year, but Milwaukee is 3-1 against Indiana this year?
Yeah, they'd rather play the Pacers, I'd say. The Knicks just are too good offensively for them. They play Brook off the floor. They just can't be stopped. So I'd go Pacers, even though
With or without Damian Lillard, part of the equation here.
Yeah,
Tough.
Yeah, you'd rather have Dame. I guess the Pacers though, they want that. They want that. Giannis would be hungry for that rematch for sure.
Who had the worst night? I want to throw this at you guys. Was it Westbrook? Was it, let's say, Santi Aldama trying to find Steph Curry? Was it Nick Richards trying to stop Giannis? Or was it the unfortunate Hawks fan that potentially blew out his knee trying to do a layup playing tic-tac-toe? Those are your 4 options.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you go to a basketball game and leave with a significant injury, that's the worst.
That's rough.
Yeah.
I mean, poor guy, man. He slipped, too.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can he? I'm sure you got to sign a waiver before you go out there on the floor. We had to sign waivers when we played State Farm in a 3-on-3 tournament.
A lot of waivers.
But that sucked.
You go in for a layup, like he's playing tic-tac-toe, but he goes in for the layup and just collapsed. I just wonder, was there a puddle?
It looked,
You look like you just
maybe it was the
slipped
shoes.
hardcore.
I don't know.
But I guess not.
Then it got even weirder because the tic-tac-toe game kept going. The one guy, at least he was hitting his layups, so he obviously just won the game. But then the poor MC, like in-arena MC, she did not know what to do.
Yeah, she's supposed to do.
Yeah, what is she supposed to do? I mean, I guess it's like just wrap it up, but she's like, let's go check on the guy, and then you could tell somebody's probably in her ear going, "Don't go check on him." Yeah, we gotta stretcher him.
I mean, we never see that. That is, I would say she probably thought like he just fell.
Yeah,
because we never see a guy rip his ACL if that's what it is.
Yeah, I don't know.
We
for
don't
sure,
know, but it sure looked like it. I mean, it looked like a fan pulling a basketball player move and like ripping his ACL, unfortunately.
They should have immediately went into a 1-800 call Ken ad.
Nice.
That's a
That'd be
great
good.
reference.
One fall, that's all.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's a little bit of Harry the Hawk's, mistake, I guess, too, because he was telling the one guy to keep going, which but
Harry always wants somebody to win, man.
Exactly.
He's got to keep him hyped up.
Yeah, well,
Can't
it's,
do
like,
anything
it's
else.
a sponsored event too.
Yeah.
Is it that Take 5 oil or something like that? That's the things they're putting down.
Oh, I mean, come on. An oil slick?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's terrible.
I didn't even think
be
of that.
sponsored by
Jesus.
Swiffer.
Yeah, I didn't even think of that. Anyway, so who had the worst night? You tell us in the stream team. Any other takeaways from last night's action? We had the Blazers beating the Hawks. I mean, it was a really bad night for Atlanta. That guy injuring himself, and they got crushed by the Blazers here. We had the Magic moving into the 7th spot thanks to the Hawks losing and them beating the Spurs. OG Anunoby's on a tear right now for the Knicks. He had 27. They beat the Sixers, and then Kobe White scored 28. Bulls secured a play-in spot, beating our Raptors handedly. Any of those games you want to touch on?
Yeah, well, just OG scoring 27, his 7th straight 20-point game.
Yeah.
That's the most of his career. He's never done that before. He's looking like the best version of OG right now. So you can ride that into the postseason. Even though he was 2 of 9 from 3-point land, going to the free throw line 13 times means this guy is just straight beelining it. And the defense is going to be paying attention to Brunson and Towns. You're going to have those beeline opportunities. So that is a great thing. The Denny experience has been awesome. Denny Avdia has just been ridiculously good. Just to get into his numbers real quick, 32, 15, and 10. 32 points, 15 boards, and 10 assists. In his last 11 games, he's averaging 26 points, 11 boards, and 5.5 assists on 53% shooting and 48% from 3. I mean, this isn't some just accident. This is Denny playing great. I know it's March, and you can look at it since March 1st. How's he been playing? But this was a great guy going into this season. And so it was a great acquisition. He looks, obviously, like their best player. He looks great.
Any thoughts on any of those games?
Well, the Bulls swept the Raptors this season.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, 28 for Kobe, 27 for Vucci Baby, and Talen Horton Tucker scored 27 points. What's going on out there?
Yeah, Talen Horton Tucker, here's a who. And
You mentioned the Bulls clinched a play-in spot. Their social team put out a graphic. Clinched.
I did see that.
You think they should do that? The Hawks did it as well. I haven't seen it yet for the Magic or for the Heat.
Interesting.
Yeah. The teams that expect to be there are like, yeah, we clinched it. And the teams that don't want to be there are like, don't mention it.
Yeah, I guess that's like
Kinda.
that's the way you approach
Kinda
it.
how it
right?
is.
Yeah, I mean, you're not hanging a banner for that, so I guess it's just a graphic. I mean, I always feel
Hanging a
bad for
tweet.
the social media teams that gotta put up when their team gets like crushed by 50, and they gotta put final. and then
On
the
to the
score
next
of the
one.
game. Yeah, it's like they're
Get 'em
like
next
it's
time.
like it's mandatory that they have to share that.
That's sponsored usually, right?
Yeah, some of them are. You're right on the graphic at least. So, yeah, whatever. Good for you. You're in. You're in.
That's right. Orlando won last night. Atlanta
Yeah.
lost, so now Orlando is up to 7th in the Eastern Conference. They've won 5 of their last 7. Nice.
Yeah.
Doing okay.
Yep. They're obviously the Bulls had been playing well. It feels like the Magic still are the best of the bunch in the play-in, right? With led by Paolo and Wagner, and their identity, a defensive-minded team. Then again, it's a one-game situation, so it's like they're gonna get 2 cracks at it. But yeah, if you can't hit a shot that night, then you're in trouble. So it feels like they will be one of our representatives. I think I feel confident in saying that they'll win one of those first 2 games that they got to be the 7th or 8th seed. But I don't think any of those teams is putting up too much of a fight in a first-round series. But we'll be talking about the play-in regardless.
Oh, we will.
Yeah. All right, let's get to a little Is This News. All right, some headlines for the boys. We haven't done this in a while. You guys tell me whether or not these are newsworthy. Play along in the stream team. Play along in the YouTube comments. Tweet at us if you want. All right, first one from The Athletic. A fine website. NBA suspends 5 players following Pistons-Timberwolves fight. Let me give you the details. Pistons center Isaiah Stewart received the stiffest penalty. He got a 2-game ban because of his, quote, repeated history of unsportsmanlike acts, while teammates Marcus Sasser and Ron Holland II each received a 1-game suspension. And then you already talked about it, Tass. Minnesota's Dante DiVincenzo and Naz Reid also hit with a 1-game ban. They already served that in missing that crazy game against the Nuggets last night. I'll start with you. Is this news? Were you surprised at all by the suspensions handed out by the league?
I think this is news because of the way that the NBA released their PR statement. I mean, it started with Isaiah Stewart. It wasn't people were suspended because there was a fight. It was the first line. Detroit Pistons forward center Isaiah Stewart has been suspended 2 games without pay for escalating an on-court altercation. It was announced today by Joe Dumars, the former Piston. The length of Stewart's suspension is based in part of his repeated history of unsportsmanlike acts. Then it tells you about everything else that happened. The whole fight thing. So it's really a shot at Isaiah Stewart to let him know, hey, man, don't do this again.
Right.
Don't get involved in any sort of fights. And they're very, very aware of fights and how they're interpreted by fans. And so I think that's what I took from this was we don't F around. Mm-hmm. And then this is a different game than when I played. And speaking of Joe Dumars, the way he handed it down
Tass
directly
played for
to
the
a
bad
guy.
boys.
Yes, I wish. But Joe, let people know this ain't the 80s anymore, man. You can't go and do that stuff. Like, I've never seen a press release start this way without the summary of everything that happened.
Right, you're saying zeroing in on Isaiah Stewart for the guy with the track history. Yeah,
we got him.
I mean, it's more just to scare him for the future. Really.
Yeah. Good luck with that. I don't think it's going to do anything.
Well, he's gotten a little better. I mean, this isn't an elbow to LeBron's face. It's a lot more.
Look,
weak.
these suspensions. I mean, obviously the Wolves did pull it out, but these are like timely suspensions, I will say, for both these squads in terms of playoff seeding. The Wolves trying to get out of the damn play-in. The Pistons, obviously trying to figure out their seeding in the Eastern Conference, so you're going to miss some of your guys here. So it's big. Were you shocked at all that the 2 games for Beef Stew and then the 1 for everybody else?
No, not at all. I mean, they were up in fans, right? So guaranteed you're getting suspended, and then the repeat offender factor of it was of course people are going to catch suspensions here. DiVincenzo has been in the mix with stuff as well, so not surprised he would get suspended. I thought it was going to be bigger news because of the Timberwolves' absences. They're really playing for seeding / are we play-in or playoff? So I thought that was going to be big. They pulled off their win without their 2 guys. You look at what the Pistons' schedule is that these guys are going to be missing. So Stewart is going to miss the Thunder and the Raptors. I honestly don't think he changes either result there. They'll probably lose to the Thunder and probably beat the Raptors with or without Isaiah Stewart. And then the other 1-gamers are going to be missing the Thunder. So, I mean, still advantage Thunder, but I think that was kind of the case already. So it seemed like bigger news when it happened, to me at least. But not a surprise that there were suspensions coming down.
I'm with you. When the fight spilled into the first row, it's ooh, we do not like that at all. Obviously, putting our fans in danger. And then I think a big part of this, too, was if you remember, after the players are separated and sort of order is being a little bit restored, they kept going at it, and they kept jawing. And I'm talking Reed, I'm talking Holland, I'm talking Stewart, and DiVincenzo. Those guys specifically, nonstop barking at each other. And then it led to the coaches and Bickerstaff and assistant coach Pablo Prigioni. So they're like, all right, if you're gonna fight and you're gonna push and you're gonna do all that, okay, well then when it's done, it's done. But it didn't end. The other thing I love tracking when it comes to any sort of altercation. You guys know this. How websites call said altercation. So this from the suspension news. Listen to this. So I got a bit of everything for you. The Athletic, CBS Sports, they went with fight in the headline.
Yeah.
Okay, sure. SI.com called it a brawl. Yahoo Sports called it a melee. And ESPN, in two different articles, one sort of on the side and then the actual article itself, called it a scuffle and a skirmish. So I gave you, what did I give you there? 5 different terms
a lot of
for said
descriptors.
altercation. Yeah. Do you have a favorite of the bunch for what we saw between the Pistons and the Wolves?
I think scuffle and skirmish are the most accurate.
Okay.
This was not a brawl.
Not a brawl.
No, this was pointing at each other.
Yeah.
And getting mad at each other.
Right. So
skirmish
not a
and scuffle,
fight,
I don't
not
think
a
it was
brawl.
a fight, but like, I mean,
Melee's not bad.
I like melee.
Yeah,
Melee fits in.
because melee, like I like the it going into the crowd part of it.
Okay.
I mean, it's number of people involved,
Yeah.
I think, is what comes down to with melee. It wasn't crazy.
No.
So melee makes it feel like it should be a little more crazy.
It's a good point with melee. It does feel like it's a lot of people, just a lot of bodies there.
Yeah.
Where maybe you could say scuffle, skirmish, it could be more of a 1-on-1, a 2-on-1, something like that.
how about a rumble?
Rumble's fine.
More and more guys coming in.
Yeah.
Is that Pablo Prigioni's music? They're doing their own thing.
Glass shatters.
One guy's been in there since the beginning. DiVincenzo's like, I gotta take a break. You guys fight it out while I'm just over here by the turnbuckle.
Oh yeah, Royal Rumble. It would work out perfectly on the city edition of their floor that looks like ice breaking, sort of. The Timberwolves specifically.
Oh yeah. That's a good point.
Just battle on there. Yeah, good one. Thanks for the breakdown.
No problem.
That's good.
No Donnybrook. Sad to say.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, too old.
Yeah.
Too old. That only happens in baseball. They got Donnie Brooks.
Yeah.
You're right.
Bench clearing brawls. They go brawls a lot.
They
for
love
sure.
a bench clearing brawl.
Okay, next headline here. NBA.com. Pelicans shut down Zion Williamson and CJ McCollum for the rest of the year. TK, is this news?
No, it's not.
Okay.
Zion Williamson getting shut down for the season. Heard it before.
Yeah.
Basically, the Pelicans were winning too much. 8-12 post All-Star. They've won 3 of their last 6. These are not great records, but it's all relative because the Sixers are on a process-like tank run right now. They've won 4 games since February 1st, and it's getting close enough
Yeah.
to the Sixers dropping below the Pelicans in the tank odds that New Orleans basically couldn't take that chance. We've talked about it before. If Zion is playing, they have a chance in any game, any one single game. Doesn't mean they're going to win them all, but at least they might have the best guy on the court that night. When he's sitting on the bench, they're not going to have the best guy on the court most nights. So this is smart from them to stay in the top 4, get the best possible odds they can.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's going to be something that happens. Guys just get shut down. So that part is unfortunate that you don't see Zion for the rest of the season if you're a Pelicans fan going to the games. But I think it's news because both guys have bone bruises. That's why they're shut down, apparently.
Do they?
Yeah. Prove it. Prove it that we don't have guys who have bone bruises.
See your bones.
Yeah.
I'm sure they're banged up. As
Everybody is.
is.
Yeah.
But could they be playing? Of course they
Of
could.
course.
But Trae's right. Where they stand right now, like the Hornets are only 2 games, I'll say in sort of air quotes, behind them, right? Ahead of them, however you want to flip it, right? And then you got the Sixers who like refuse to win a game. So
Game
they're
and a
right
half
in the middle
behind.
there.
Yeah.
We're talking percentages points, like either they're at currently 12.5% chance to win the number 1 pick, win Cooper Flag, the Pelicans are. So, you jump, again, air quotes, the Hornets, you got a 14% chance. You go the other way, you got less of a percent chance because, they think it goes down to, you lose a percentage or a percentage and
It's
a
like
half.
12.5 for number 1 to 10.5 difference
yeah.
between 4 and 5.
There you go. Okay.
And I just did a spin. Just did a quick spin
Oh, yeah,
on
what do you got?
Tankathon. Literally, New Orleans got the number 1 pick.
Hey!
Number 2, the Raptors, though.
All right.
That's for you.
Thank you. Zion, though, again here, finishes the season with averages of basically 25, 7, and 5 in 30 games. This will blow your mind, though. 30 games played. Somehow, registers as only his 4th lowest total in 6 seasons. So this was a good year for Zion,
Healthy
playing
year.
30 games, a healthy year. He played 24 games in his rookie year. He missed the entire 21-22 season. He played just 29 games 2 years ago. So it's the same old story with Zion. When he's out there, he's awesome, but he's rarely out there. So we will see. Okay, next headline. This is an interesting one from ESPN. Hawks Trae Young named assistant GM for Oklahoma men's basketball. Tass, I'll start with you. Is this news?
It's news that this is becoming more of a regular thing. I mean, Steph Curry also doing it for Davidson, and now Trae Young following suit. These guys are great recruiters. This is a new era in college basketball where this is an important part of just getting people to their college, especially because Trae and Steph can say, you know how we get you more money? You come to this organization or to this school and we'll get you all sort of sponsor deals. The name, image, and likeness deals are through the roof, man. You know how much Steph could have made? I'm sure he's talking to his people. You know how much I made? You know how much I could have made if this was a different a time for me, like if the NIL existed when I was there. So it's cool. I think it's just smart. It's just smart business, really.
Right.
It's what it is.
From the article, Trae Young will assist with the evaluation of high school and transfer portal prospects. He'll help negotiate player contracts, and he will guide players in building their brands. That goes to what you were saying. I feel like he'll do that last one more than the other two, but maybe
Probably
I'm
so,
wrong.
yeah.
Curry has done this.
contracts.
He does this with Davidson, assistant general manager. That was like 3 weeks ago. That was announced. So Trae Young jumping on board here. Trae Kerby, what do you think?
I like it. I like that he's the assistant. He got to work his way up to get the #1 GM job. Same with Steph Curry. They're like, look, it's your first job in the front office. Start slow. Just help us build some brands and give us $1 million. $1 million
Yes.
donation.
I
as
know.
well
I should have said that part.
from Trae Young, and I'm sure Curry did the same thing. It's let's up our NIL coffers here. But I think we're going to see a lot of this. Like the best player from whichever college is going to go back and be an assistant GM somewhere. And it's basically just like, hey, you're a famous guy. That's it. That's really all it is like the buzz of we've got a famous basketball player. He can talk to you. He can help you in the NBA, prepare you.
I think you're right. I mean, look, I've always found college sports weird down here, but this is like next level weird. Like now we have these guys as assistant GMs, and you're right. It's just like, hey, look, he's an assistant GM. We can call him anytime. You want to talk to him?
Yep.
Sure. You want to build your brand up? Sure. Blah, 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 blah. But also they're giving a ton of money to the school. I guess I didn't know this. Retired NFL quarterback Andrew Luck. He accepted a general manager position at his alma mater, Stanford, last year. Now he's out of the NFL. And so maybe we'll see more of that with some of these guys. But these guys are current players.
Yeah.
Luck is
Transfer
back with,
portal is open right now.
Yeah.
Maybe Trae was busy recruiting yesterday. He's like, oh man, I got a game tonight.
Oh, that's what I want to happen. I can't wait for the hot take of like when Trae Young loses in a play-in game and people are like, his mind's not in the right place. His mind's looking at high school prospects. He's worried about his college more than his professional team. Oh, I can't wait for that hot take. Anyway, I find it all weird, but it is what it is. And maybe I find it weird because I didn't go to the States. I didn't go to college in the States.
Yeah, in the end, it's about getting some of these college players money, and that's a good thing.
Yeah.
So,
They
should be paid.
When I say weird,
period.
it's just like
It's weird, yeah.
It's just
different.
It's good in a way because it's all out in the open now. I'm sure this was all going, backdoor deals and backroom deals, I should say, when it was all shady and boosters and blah blah blah. So now it's just like, all right, who's got the money? Go ahead.
Yep.
Lure talent to your organization, to your school. But it's like it almost has some similarities like to like legalized gambling in a weird way. Like it was always going on. It was like whisper, 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 and it's like sort of in the shadows.
Great point.
And then now, then it becomes more and more like out in the open, and it's like good on one hand, but then you're like, is it? I don't know. That's my opinions on it. Final headline. This is a great one. From Front Office Sports. We'll give them the headline here. Former ESPN reporter Zach Lowe rejoins Bill Simmons at The Ringer. Trae Kerby, is this news?
Oh, this is great news, man. I listened to a podcast on Spotify yesterday. I was so excited to hear Zach Lowe talking about the NBA. Crazy, man.
Yeah,
First time I ever did it.
2 hours plus, I guess, Zach Lowe with Bill Simmons on Simmons' podcast. Zach Lowe's, I think, starts next week. Is that right?
I think that's right, yeah.
So you're pumped to have him back in your life.
Yeah, I'm excited.
He had a lot.
We got Zach Lowe and LeBron back in the podcasting game in the same week.
That's a good point. Yeah, not good for us. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is tough for us, man. It's already, a lot of competition as it is. Now I got Zach Lowe and LeBron. Those are two GOATs right there. Mm-hmm. We're not afraid. We do it live. I guess Zach Lowe does it live too. Does he?
I don't think so.
No, come on.
Anyway.
Live to tape, maybe?
They don't got the guts.
Yeah. I was interested. Look, I love Zach, one of the greats, but I don't think he's fair to my sweet Chicago Bulls.
Oh, yeah. I saw you tweeting about this.
Yeah, he's a big-time Chicago Bulls hater. So I was locked in, waiting to hear the good things he was going to say about the Bulls, who were playing their most exciting basketball of the past 3 seasons. Mm-hmm. Nary a word.
No.
Instead, however, improvements have been made. He's now trashing the Sacramento Kings. Maybe it wasn't the Bulls that he hated. Maybe it's just DeRozan and Levine.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, he's like, what, we're going to have the Kings and Bulls just trading back and forth from now on? I was listening.
What do you think, Tass? Is this newsworthy?
Yeah, Lowe is just living back his old days. I mean, just trash the Bulls, trash the Kings. I mean, it's the same thing, it feels like. This is fantastic news. Period. This is Zach Lowe. I mean, I watched that trailer over and over. Zach Lowe's back, baby.
Oh, you haven't listened to the podcast yet?
I haven't, no. I made sure it came out Tuesday. I do take all mine in from Spotify, so I was ready to go.
Oh, yeah, I'm a Spotify guy, too. Yeah.
Do you watch the videos? No,
Nah.
what's a video?
Yeah, I sometimes will, but not usually. You can now click, just go to audio.
Yeah, I
that.
just close my phone, and it just plays the audio.
Yeah, I don't like doing that, though, because it does a weird tiny delay when you do that. Like a 1 second delay that pisses me off for some reason. But now they added the option, just audio. Boom. Just audio.
Just like that.
Oh, okay. While the video is playing. Or you can just listen to a podcast.
The video,
you know what I mean?
The video immediately comes up on Spotify if they have that option. And then it now says click just audio. And you're like, okay, just audio.
That's fun.
But it was great to see him. He looked great. He looked refreshed. And he was firing takes. When Bill Simmons like, anything you want to talk about from the first entire season, I guess? He went everywhere. He touched on a bunch of things. So Zach Lowe back in the game. Great to have the professor back in our lives. And yes, his podcast officially starts next week. Those are all the headlines I got for you. Good stuff. Fun show. Man, what a night in the association. 2 big games on ESPN tonight. We got Knicks at Cavs at 7. Now, that's not going to really decide, the standings at all, but you could argue pretty big for the Knicks. Confidence, beat a good team would be good. Beat a Cavs team that you might see in the postseason. So that's the first game. And then Pistons-Thunder at 9:30. That's the follow-up game on ESPN, and that's the Thunder trying to go 29-1 versus the Eastern Conference. And we'll see if the Pistons can put up a fight.
And Shea going for his 69th consecutive 20-point game.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hopefully nice.
To tie Michael Jordan.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're tying Michael Jordan in a scoring record.
Yeah.
That's something.
Yeah. How do you feel? Because I was searching just to making sure I knew all the numbers going on. That Will Chamberlain had the most, Oscar Robertson had the most. And I searched most consecutive 20-point games. And people have lists where they overlap 2 seasons.
Yeah. I knew that was going to happen.
Nah. That's not allowed.
You want 1 season.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
1 streak, 1 season.
That's right.
1 streak, 1 season. Yeah, do you include the playoffs and all that? I mean, that doesn't mean as much when you do that, right?
Whoa. Did Shea score over 20 in the NBA Cup final?
Let's go.
He probably did.
Probably, but I don't remember.
But it doesn't matter if he did. It doesn't matter.
Oh, no. I factored that in, I think, weeks ago to make sure he did that, because you don't want to see a situation where he didn't get to 20.
Oh, but
he did.
But you are going to count that.
No, not included.
But he did anyway.
Yeah,
gotcha.
but his record isn't decimated because he didn't get to 20 in a game that doesn't count. I'm pretty sure. It was late. We were there live in Las Vegas. He had a poor game against the Bucks.
He didn't have a great game.
No, yeah, I was gonna say that's why.
But he got there at the end.
I think he did too. I think he did.
I think
Somebody
that's what
probably letting us know in the stream team right
It's
now.
a little hard to find out.
Yeah, I mean they just
harder than a
wipe it from the
clickaroo.
internet. Silver just gets it removed.
Where's my box scores at?
December 17th, 2024 in Las
21
Vegas.
points.
Wow.
Ooh,
Spy.
I think he hit that is tight. Okay, that's fine.
Oh, should we do the play-by-play? Was that just added? Just at the end?
Yeah, go. We got time.
Yeah.
I think he scored late. I don't know why I remember that, but I feel like he did.
His last bucket was 5:27 left.
That's not that late. I thought it was later. Okay. Okay. Nothing at the free throw line?
Nope.
Didn't get any cheap ones?
Nope.
Okay, good. Join us tonight. Yeah, you heard me. Tonight, if you're a Survivor fan, we're doing something different tonight. We're going to watch Survivor together in the Classic Factory and then go live on the No Buffs YouTube channel immediately following the episode. So Trae, JD, Nora will be here and myself breaking it down. Reason is we can't do it tomorrow. Some of us are headed on a trip tomorrow for our guy Matty O. So we'll be here tomorrow from the Classic Factory Thursday and Friday, but some of us gone. So we got to do No Buffs tonight. So hopefully we get a great episode. If you're a Survivor fan, come join that channel. That link is in the show notes. You can also listen to it on Spotify.
We're on Spotify?
Oh, we've been on Spotify.
Yeah, baby.
We've been on Spotify. All right, thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it. That was a fun one today. We'll see you tomorrow or tonight if you're a Survivor fan. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us, and remember, this isn't an ad at all. But remember, you can watch videos on Spotify. You can.
Not ours.
Not ours. Sometimes, they have Spotify, it's like Reels sort of thing, or Stories, I guess I should call them.
They have stories too?
Yeah, sort of.
You can comment now on Spotify, like our episodes on Spotify. Yeah.
Have you watched anything good in these Spotify stories / Reels / podcasts / other videos / stuff?
It's, I mean, this is gonna sound weird coming from a guy that does a video podcast, but what do you really need to see? I think our show more than most of these podcasts, you do want to come see. Because we're in the same factory together. We're touching each other. We're pointing at each other.
That's the first time you touched me in 8 years.
Yeah, I hadn't touched you. You're working out. That's good, man.
Yeah, I got a new pec.
Nice.
New pec inflation.
Anyway, go watch your podcast or go listen to your podcast. Do whatever you want with your podcast. You think I care? Brace the day, people.